Okay, Des, it's July the 1st. We're in the middle of the summer. We've got fast, shallow water. If we want to catch a barbel, what would your approach be?
Well, it'd be two ways. It would either be rolling small pieces of meat round. That's a fantastic method. One thing I would have to say, when you fast shallow water, you've got to remember that a lot of those fish may be smaller fish, grouped fish, shoaled fish. It wouldn't be something that I'd be sort of targeting for a bigger barbel, but certainly a catcher barbel. Certainly if they've spawned a bit later and the fish are still grouped together, there's still a lot of males together, there will be in the shallow water where the females spawned earlier, and they may just be still around there. But one of the great methods, and I know that Max in the Coalport, the Rowley Club in Coalport's done it, and that's fishing the pellet. That's fishing carp pellets on a big Trojan waggler, feeding the pellet and sort of catch it. I've done it myself, and I tried it for chub, and I've had the chub coming up, and then all of a sudden you get the barbel taking. You could be fishing 3 foot of water and you're only fishing 2 foot deep, and the barbel are obviously coming up. I fished shallower than that. I fished 4 foot of water and 2 foot up, trying to catch the chub on the pellet, and the barbel are coming up and turning in the water and actually come up, because those barbel won't sit there and watch those chub keep feeding. They will actually start coming up. So that's a great method. But again, you need to feed. If you think you're just going to feed and they're going to come onto it straight away, then don't do that. You've got to feed. It might be like the old days of casters and hemp. People used to feed this river 2 hours before they had a bite, and then they'd have £100 of fish the last 2 or 3 hours of the match. It don't seem to want that. People seem to want this instant success, and it doesn't always work. Sometimes the longer you wait for a bite, the more you bait up the peg, the slower they come, the longer the longer the catch and the bigger the catch. Certainly in shallow water that works. If you get a big shoulder fish in front of you, and you get them feeding on those pellets, then that's a fantastic way of catching. On the meat, you wouldn't catch so many as that, because unless you're feeding the meat, but you never know where the meat's going when you're feeding meat into fast water. You're tending to cast it round on fish that are already there, and that's where they're staying. So you're putting the meat, come round into where they are, and bang, over it goes. It's a fantastic way of fishing, especially for on the middle 7 or the upper 7 for shoal type fish. Small piece of meat, not on a hair rig, because you're going to damage the hook and you're going to get it hooked up. The hook firmly inside the meat, bounce it round, just about hold it holding, so that when you drop the rod, you can drop the rod so a bit of line goes in and that will move it, or lift it up. I tend to drop it down, and I tell you what, sometimes I'll fish a feeder with maggots if I know the barbel are there, and we used to call it the bouncing feeder, and I've done that a lot at the back of my house. And what I do is I have a feeder with hardly any lead on, so when you chuck it in, it doesn't hold bottom. So what I've got in an apron is I've got lumps of flat lead, and all I do is drop lead into the feeder with the maggots till it just about holds, and then the maggots come out, just starts to move a little bit. You just drop a bit of line, that extra line, in the water, which causes it to drag round or just lift it up, and you're taking the feeder with the maggot round the swim, and boom, for away you go. It's like just doing the rolling meat, but rolling a feeder and a maggots round. But you need to just have strips of lead, so you just hold it out. If it's holding too much, then take lead out, but just keep dropping little bits of lead in, little flat lead inside the feeder till it just holds, and you're just holding it, it'll just keep going round, boom, and some days that'll beat a static bait all day long.
So getting back to your float fishing with the pellets, would you again advocate baiting up first and not fishing?
I advocate for every species I ever fish for, baiting up. The longer you can bait up, the bigger the fish, the better the fish. If you imagine, if you go into a swim, the first thing you do is when you put bait in, the fish hear it, the fish come to it. And the first fish, a bigger fish might not be cleverer. All he is, he's more cautious, he's lived longer, he's avoided otters, he's avoided the floods, he's fed longer, he's a wiser fish in life, not being caught. They don't do that, but what they do is they're wiser in life. So why not hold back just that bit of danger? So what happens is, The first things in the, you know, a lot of the times are the smaller fish. There might be chub, dace or whatever, and those pellets attract those first. Those barbel are watching that. If you can keep feeding and feeding and feeding without one being caught, then your barbel will come. And eventually when they come, what will happen, it's like when you're tench fishing. Loads of perch, you're fishing on the maggot, you're having perch, then all of a sudden you have a tench. And you have 20 tench on the trot. Then all of a sudden you have a perch. Guarantee the tench fishing's finished. The tench have allowed the perch to have it, you don't have any more tench. It's the same as barbel. When you start catching chub, and you start catching roach or whatever on the pellet, your barbel fishing's nearly over. It's nearly over. You're catching barbel. Once you start catching barbel, you're having 8 barbel, 10 barbel on the trot. Then all of a sudden you start catching chub. The barbel have pushed it out, the top of the pecking order. Even a small barbel of 5 or 6 pounds, bigger than the average chub of 2 or 3 pounds. So you know who's going to get the bait.